Hello and welcome to Mostly Minnesota Music Podcast Edition. I'm Ann Tracy and I'm here with my co-host,
Heather Baker.
Yes, we are here with the members of Bird Hands. We've got Ian Prince and Ellen Epley. Welcome.
Hi.
Thank you. Hi.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. You both are accomplished musicians and many other things, and I'm not sure if we should start with the back or start with the front, but let's start with Bird Hands. You have an album that came out this summer.
Yep.
Machiniste.
Oh, that's good.
I know.
Parlez-vous français?
Yeah.
You need
a little something on it.
Yeah, exactly. It's I love it. I would love it even more if I could listen to it dancing somewhere. There used to be an underground place called Secret Service, and I thought I could just pick my corner, get my cheap beer, and dance all night. There's something very energizing about it, something very mesmerizing about it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, but tell us how you guys got together to do it, this kind of stream of consciousness that you've worked with.
It really is a stream of consciousness. It was the idea, and he and I have been wanting to do something forever. We've known each other for maybe 25 years. Yeah. And we were like, we should be doing this. And then the idea came around to make something very fast. We wanted to not discuss anything. And we thought this project would be done in 6 months. That we would, the idea was that I would put down some parts and that we wouldn't overthink it, and we would just put it to a click track, and I would write my parts here in Chicago, and then I sent them off to Minneapolis, and Ian would play whatever he wanted to play on it, and I wouldn't say, oh, why don't you do the other part on this part, any of that bullshit. And sorry, can I cuss? Sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
All right. Okay. It's going to get a lot worse than that. So
awesome.
It won't. It won't. So we'd stuck to that, where we did not get in each other's way as far as that creatively. It just is what it is. It's two stream of consciousness parts put together. He played to mine. We didn't edit anything.
Yeah.
And that's been great. It just took a lot longer throughout the whole time than we thought it might. So it's been about 4 or 5 years in the making. He's been busy. I blame it all on Ian and his schedule with Soul Asylum and with Porcupine. Yeah. And so it was both of us, and it was a pandemic. And whereas I thought we might get a lot more done over the pandemic than I thought we would, but it shut everything down for a minute.
Right.
But the idea was to create something kind of hypnotic but dancey a little bit, and like familiar. And it reminded us of some of our bands that we really like Trans Am and
Touring
Machine and Battles, and had some of that vibe to it. I don't know, Ian, is there who else might think about, right? Some of our inspirations for this, but
I don't know that we talked about this guy too much, but I sort of drew inspiration from DJ Shadow, who I just love,
Yeah. And it kind of has a remixed version vibe to it, and that is, I would give a lot of that credit to Jay Robbins.
Oh yeah, for sure.
For the whole vibe of it, and honestly, we didn't have Jay go back and remix anything. We kind of took his mixes from the start. We might say it was a couple of very slight remixes. But sometimes you'll go back with the guy who's mixing your record, and you'll ask him, it'll go through 12, 15, 20 revisions until you just beat it into the ground. That did not happen here. So in a way, we have really kept this pure train of thought, this linear vision throughout it. It did take a long time. It took a lot longer than we thought.
It took a long time, but it was easy though, at the same time.
It was easy, and we didn't force it. We would do a song every month, every 6 weeks or something, or 4 weeks, and I'd send him a track. He'd go, oh, this is rad, let me go do something to it. And who was the guy who helped you record the track?
Oh yeah, so I would track sort of a demo version at my practice space to sort of map it out, and then I went in with Kevin Bow. He teaches a class at IPR.
Yeah.
You know Kevin?
I think yeah, mostly by name, but yeah.
Yeah, he records all the Communist Daughter stuff, and he's great. You should have him on the show. Actually, he's got plenty of stories. He used to play with Paul Westerberg, and he wrote a song for Etta James.
That little
shit. Yeah. You've heard of him?
Whoever that is.
Yeah.
Maybe. I'm so curious. Like, you guys were in bands and, you know, kind of toured around together. Were you just curious when you saw each other play, or just fell in love with each other on the road and saw your talents and was just like, yeah, we should do something? Or like, how did this, because I feel like, you know, you come across the same cats a few times. Mm-hmm. What made this one stick more, I guess?
Yeah, I guess you talk about starting projects with a lot of different people, you know, along the way. This one did actually stick. Ian and I have toured together, but quite honestly, it's been 20 years.
Yeah.
But the other side of it is that we kept in regular touch. Like, I would be on tour with my band, and we would come through, and we played a lot of shows together over the years with, you know, with Story of the Sea, his brother with his band. And they have 3 or 4. How many records you guys got? Amazing records.
I guess it's technically 4. Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
I was right. And then, so we kept in touch with through playing together with Story of the Sea and the Life and Times. And those are both of our bands after Houston and Shiner, you know, because Shiner had broke up, Houston broke up, but he and I continued to have a relationship through the other bands and, or the bands after those guys. And so that's been great for the past 15 years. We'd stay at his house. We'd stay up way too late drinking, and, or not, but usually. And you know what? You get back from the gig, and then you sit outside in your neighborhood. It's actually lovely. What is that? 30th? No. I don't know where that's at. Yeah.
It's northeast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know it as the rich section of town. That's all. So where
the high rollers.
Yes. That's all I know. So, but we always had a great time hanging out. We have a mutual affection for each other, and kind of like fascination in each other's talents. I think, you know, like when I watch him play, it's just very special. It's just otherworldly, and people recognize that. And so I pride myself on being able to play and consistently playing with world-class drummers, especially, but musicians all around. And this is just kind of been, no, I mean, I'm like, yeah, no, I mean, but you're world-class. So I guess this is a mark it off the bucket list thing for me. So, you know, I get to do this and create an ongoing relationship. I was also saying to somebody else that you don't get a chance to hang out with other grown men a lot unless if you're a dad and you're a working guy and you're doing this other stuff. How else are you going to be able to hang out with any dudes if you're not like creating and creating time together? And so,
right, you're not going to make the time for it.
Yeah, this being in a band is like often like a marriage, and so we have entered into our sacred vows. And I'm rambling now, so I don't know what I'm talking.
Well, I'm also curious too. Like you said, you laid down the tracks. Was it blank and Ian took off? Did you name it before, like the title, like all of this? How does this?
Titles come last. The titles always come last because you just go with the vibe, and then the song will tell you what the title is.
That's what I figured, but I just didn't know how your potion worked there.
Yeah.
And so Ian, when you got it, were you just like you said, it was so easy?
Yeah, I mean, I put thought into it, obviously, and a lot of care, but kind of being well, a drummer, a lot of times you're reactionary to what you're playing to or with, and as soon as I would get tracks from Al, I'd be like, oh, I get it. It wasn't like some foreign. I'm like, it was within my wheelhouse and something I was excited to dive into, and it just didn't. Yeah, it didn't feel like work at all. It was just very gratifying.
Did you have conversations about what you wanted the feel of the album or each song to have at all, or just?
Well, a little bit. We talk about. I mean, I remember talking about abstract ideas like they're like Rothko paintings. Like.
That's true.
Yeah. Right.
Really, that really is what it is. Yeah, I remember that. I remember those conversations. Yeah, and I feel like it is in a lot of ways. I think we did that where you set this this kind of groove or pattern, and then it changes minutely over just like ever so slightly over the time, by the time you're kind of changing into this other thing, and next you start from red, next thing you know it goes into blood red, and then it's black at the bottom, then back to red at the very, and it does this kind of like
melting.
Yeah, it has this the evolution of it is almost,
it's like a slow burn kind of.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we did that.
Yeah.
I particularly like the progression in Machiniste, the first song. It seemed like there was 2 minutes of kind of build, and then a 2 minute, another shift. And then the last 2 minutes was a different, I love the progression of that.
Oh, good.
Oh, thanks.
Yes.
And that was the first one we worked on, right? Like,
yeah.
The album order is like the order that we
wrote in. Almost.
Yeah.
And that's about 1.5 years, maybe 2 years of that, because the first 4 or 5 songs came pretty quick. I had 4 or 5 of them done, and then we go, hey, we're here, and I was like, oh, what am I doing? And we had to keep, you kind of lose your focus for a second, and it happens over time because we're out of town, we got other things going on, we got other bands, and he's touring, he's doing Soul Asylum, and he's like, and we're like, oh yeah, we got to do this, I'll send you another song soon. He goes, cool, I'll get in. Another thing we say was that, who was the gentleman, Kevin Bowe, is that the guy? We were able to get in for free sessions because he was teaching a recording studio class. Am I wrong? Is that what it is?
No, that's right.
And he needed a concubine. We needed tracks. We needed a subject for his students to mic up the kit and to get different things. So at the very end of the day, you knew they were going to be tracked right because Kevin was going to do it. But like we were able to kind of do this and kind of pick away at it over the time. But that first song in particular it does have that Rothko vibe. And that was, I think, the one that reminded me of like Touring Machine. Very little known band, but very influential band.
Oh, they were big for me.
Yeah,
for sure.
They're a big deal.
Did Shiner play with them?
No, maybe. I don't think so. I would have known. I know a lot of stuff.
Houston did once.
Yeah. Shiner's played with crazy people that I would have never thought, like Brainiac and SNFU and like shows that we weren't even supposed to be on, really. I mean, and like that don't really make thematic, or whatever sense,
Well, and you guys did that Death Cab for Cutie tour. That was kind of bonkers.
That was a bit of a non sequitur, but
yeah,
still pretty good. I thought that would
pretty good. Not bad.
It was fun. I mean,
yeah,
we played too long every night, which is the one thing you don't do when somebody asks you out on tour. We played
like you went over the limit.
Yeah, like 5 minutes over the limit. That's one of the things you get off stage.
Yeah, right.
End 5 minutes early. That's like what I would tell anybody. But I was such a knucklehead that I still regret it. That's why I'm confessing my sins today.
I like that good tip, but I also like, you guys both do have such a pedigree. I'm tempted to ask you each to describe the other's bands because you've played so much together and what drew you to them. But I won't. You can do that if you want. I won't put you on the spot. But we've talked to Ian before, although we still want to hear about all of the bands too. But just give us a quick rundown of some of the stuff that you've done in the past and the other things you're doing now.
Me or Ian?
Well, I was just gonna say we could start.
I'm old news. No,
we still want to hear. We always like to hear. I mean, well, what's fun is that we've seen Ian play, so which is why we're drawn to having him on the show.
He is repeatedly. A powerful force. I understand.
I was gonna say, Ian, you were missed the other night very much. So when we went, oof. Yeah.
Well, thanks.
Sorry, Alan.
Yeah, no, a Porcupine show, I'm guessing. Yeah.
Whole new lineup. He's got it's a 4-piece now.
Okay. Well, he's not the same as when you were there, but he's a talented dude. So.
Oh yeah.
It's good. Yeah. It's just very different.
Yeah.
It's just a different. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what happens. You don't really realize how much bands change when you add different personnel, even though they're playing the same parts. And I have kind of going back to what you were asking about what I've done and where kind of what I do when I play at the Blue Man Group in Chicago. I play Chapman stick and I play bass guitar. The Chapman stick is a stringed instrument that has like bass guitar and guitar strings on it. And I get to play with about a rotation of, there's 3 people in the band. So it's myself or whoever's playing my position, then a guitar player and a drummer. And then there's a couple of other subs for each position. So there's a rotation of about 9 people that you might be with, and you would not think that it would be that different when you're playing with different people every night. It's the same material, but it is so wildly different. It is like kissing a different person. It's like not kissing. That's okay. But
it's so many analogies I'm not going for right now.
It's a very personal interaction though. It has like to play with somebody, even though you're playing the same material, it's so wildly different. The drummers play in different parts of the beat. The guitarists have different tones and the way their vibrato is. And even though it's the same material, it's interpreted completely differently. So that's a big deal in getting to play with Ian. Shiner's been my band from like 90. We formed in 92 and toured and played until we broke up in 2003. And then I started another band in 2003 called the Life in Times, or 2004. And we have been a consistent band until 2018. Eric started having babies all over the place and getting married. He's been married 5 or 6 times since 2018. So. And we just can't stop it. He's on a marrying spree. That's our bass player. No, he got married once and he had 1 child, and we've just been on a kind of hiatus as Shiner had got back together to write and create another thing. So they were making time for me to reunite with the Shiner guys. And they know that it was very special to me and that it's important. So mainly I've been doing a couple of bands over the years. I started a podcast in 2018 or 2019, kind of based on my conversations with my therapist at the time about like what am I doing with my life kind of thing, and they were like, she was like, well, that's interesting. Let's work through this. And we got to where I was able to kind of talk to other musicians and artists and creators about their lives and what it's like. And it's a lot like mine, and it's kind of chaos, but it's also kind of awesome. A lot awesome. And I've been able to realize and embrace what I do a lot more with a lot more confidence and realize that I am a creator and a musician. I'm not living some extended adolescence. I mean, I am, but and God bless it. But I, you know, because how else would you have it? I'm here in for the long haul, and I'm going to be a creator. I'm not going to get an insurance job. I'm not going to do something else. I will work side jobs if I have to. I'm also a bartender. I've done that a long time. I worked in Logan Square in Chicago at a Michelin star whiskey bar for a long time called Longman and Eagle. And I'm not there now. I'm at a venue in Berwyn, but I'm there a couple days a week, and I do Blue Man, and I do the podcast, and I teach guitar, and it's kind of a hustle. It's kind of a dance. And that's kind of, I'm at peace with it, you know? And it has been good, and the bands are fruitful. So I'm at a good spot. So
nice.
Thanks to my therapist.
Nice. Hats off.
She's fired. Yeah.
Did you interview your therapist for your podcast?
No, no, I didn't. The theme of the podcast is it's called Third Gear Scratch, and it's about talking to people, artists and creators, actors, comics, filmmakers, stage managers, a lot of rockers, a lot of people, a lot of people like, so I'm getting a lot of names these days, it seems. And the theme is, the premise is, why are you doing this? And this is one of the toughest businesses in the world, you know? Why would you even get into this? How are you doing it? What makes you do it? And what other jobs are you doing in order to make this happen? You know, you have to serve brunch somewhere. So
that recent one with Buzzo was really interesting. How hard Buzzo from the Melvins talked about how hard he works every day. Like, people talk about working. Yeah, he gets up literally at 5 o'clock and does band stuff all day long.
Dedicated.
Yeah, it's inspiring.
It really is inspiring. Yeah. I've had, like I say, more recently, Buzzo and Ken Andrews and Max Bernstein and Dave Desmalchin. Yeah, Mike Watt, Dave Desmalchin from Dune and Blade Runner, Suicide Squad, a bunch of comics. So the podcast is doing well and seems to be growing.
It's great.
And it helps me with my my insecurities and my existential crisis. So, you know.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Although if you think you can't lose all of them, because there's always got to be a little
yeah, that helps the music. Helps the music when you have that.
Yes.
Right now, I'm going to turn to you, Ian. And but tell us a little bit about Houston. Tell us about your background, because there will be people who haven't listened to everything that we've said.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, Houston was a band from 99 to like 04, I want to say. And toured. That was probably the hardest working band I've ever been in. We toured a ton and not easy touring either. It was like get paid $100 a night and sleep on floors, and it wasn't really fun until you kind of like look back on it. Like at the time, it was like you're sort of miserable, but now I'm playing with those guys again, and weekly we get together once a week, and we've been writing music, and half the time we're swapping stories, you know, and it's you know, I forgot about all the fun we did actually have. So I did that, and then when that kind of ran its course, I started Story of the Sea with my brother, who I'd always played with, and we had all these songs kind of just ready to go. Did that for a long time, and then that transitioned right into Porcupine, and like that went for about 7 years for me, and now here we are.
Wow, Porcupine was 7 years.
7 years. 2013. I was supposed to just do a record with Casey and Davey, just a one-off, and then at that exact time, Story of the Sea broke up, and then I was like available, and that was 2013.
That's crazy.
I know.
And Story of the Sea was probably a decade.
That was 10 years, yeah.
God damn.
And then along with that, somehow you've managed to play with every other band in town.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I've done some moonlighting as well.
Soul Asylum, Communist Daughter, and what can I say?
Kid Dakota.
Kid Dakota, thank you. That's what I'm
Kid
trying
Dakota,
to...
yeah. Yeah, I did a lot of traveling with him. Just as a another two-piece band, which is very efficient. We could travel in like a little SUV, and that was good. But it was also like with two people, it's like there's not a third guy to kind of break up the dynamic on the road. So that was sometimes that was a little tough.
Like a little tense.
Yeah.
He's like, Hitler's kind of all right sometimes. You're like,
I'll say no more. You know?
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. You read between the lines. Well,
no, he's not. He's
not actually Hitler.
Right. Or he doesn't really like his haircut. He was like, Hitler's haircut wasn't that bad.
You said you are recording again with Houston?
Yeah, we're doing we've got something like 18 songs in the works.
For real?
Yeah, a bunch. It's really been productive. Because the three of us
sung on them all?
He's got about 5 done.
Are they hitting?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's been, I mean, the three of us all contribute. It's been a real collaborative thing. And so it really accumulated fast. And we're like, holy smokes, we should maybe just focus on what we got and put a cap on it. Because we kept sharing ideas. And we'd all want to like work on them. Because we all like what each other does. It's very, what's the word I'm looking for? There's a really good synergy there with the three of us, you know. So
yeah, I know the vibe from when Shiner when we broke up, there was a lot of angst in like 2002 and 3, and honestly, we all struggled to remember what it was about, and then we started playing reunion shows in like 2012. And we would do them every couple of years. We would do a reissue of the vinyl of each of our records. And the first one was 2012, 2014, 2016, 2018. And they were like, well, what are we going to do now? Maybe we should write a new record. And we liked hanging out. But we had forgotten the vibe was so much different. We just wanted to talk and hang out and be together. It was just like, maybe some of that's just part of being older, you know.
Maybe I too like.
I mean, those guys, not me, but
clearly.
So you know,
it's totally different though when like you're there on your own volition. Like it feels like back in the day, it was like make or break, and it was all very serious. Not that it isn't serious now either, but it's just like it felt like an obligation, and you're stuck with these people, and you know.
It's too bad. Yeah, I remember hearing that sometimes at around that, and I'm not sure I understood it, but I know what you're talking about. And now it's much freer, you know.
Oh, for sure. Like if you're not enjoying yourself, why?
Yeah, what are you doing?
Why do it? Yeah.
Well, that seems kind of like what you guys have done too. It just is like an open field, a playground for you guys to do exactly what you want.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly what it is. And it wasn't about like, oh, we're trying to get signed and we're trying to do this. We're trying to do like, this is just music for music's sake, which is what it should be in the first place. And when you start getting caught up in, oh man, I know our fans are going to like this. I don't really like the song, but we should do it anyway. And this kind of thing. And it starts getting mixed up and your intentions gets spaghetti, the wires get crossed, and it's a much more pure experience that we had making this record than I've had in other experiences. Yeah. I mean, and generally I don't get bogged down in indie rock. I don't get like, I personally have never been signed to a major label and had somebody saying it needs to sound like this, like your last hit. Like, I've never had a huge hit. You know what I mean? I have my own, and Ian has his own, like we have our crowds of people that are really into what we do around the world. And that's a blessing, but I've never felt that pressure to create for some entity. And that has been good, you know, like, I don't feel like I have to, like, you know, the gatekeeper, which is the label, and they're going to give us money for the next record and all this shit. I mean, would I do it if they hand me $1 million? Probably, but they haven't.
Of course.
It's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
but I almost feel like that is better, to have that good core love, you know, your music following, and you get to do exactly what your love on stage and with the band and get that back and forth, rather than when are they going to play my one song that I like, or the radio, or whatever.
Right.
Exactly.
You find yourself north of 40 singing Puppy Love.
North of 40.
Just saying. In your futures.
Whoever that is. Yeah.
Whoever that is.
Yeah.
But, you know, you do see it where you're like, oh, that song does, that seems, you know, that song's creepy. That was great when you were 20.
Right.
No,
Exactly.
no. Not your hot for teacher and your teacher's, your kid's teacher.
Right. Right.
Can't think about it. You just got to sing it, right?
Right.
But it's
It
more of
gets
a
kinda meta.
lifetime sport if you've got your crowd and they can grow with you, they can expand, you know.
It really is a lifetime kind of sport. And I was thinking about that earlier this evening. Yeah. I mean, a lot of the bands who end up getting those deals in Kansas City when Shiner was there was kind of a feeding frenzy in the mid 90s after the Seattle scene. There was a bit of a feeding frenzy in Kansas City for the next Nirvana. And we deftly dodged all the deals that were sent our way. We could have made a lot more money than we ever had, but I don't know why we got out, how we got out of them, but we did. And I really have kind of kicked myself for not taking one of those deals along the way. And then a lot of those bands don't exist now.
Yeah, I was gonna say it might be a blessing. Honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately that's what I came to. But there's a lot of money getting thrown around, a lot of bands in Kansas City right after Nirvana and the whole thing. They were like, oh my God, what's happening? And there was a band called Paw from Lawrence, Kansas, which is the college town nearby Kansas City, and great town, very cool town. And so they got a huge deal. I think they got like $1 million signing deal or something, but it ends up going away. You end up with no money.
Yeah,
spent on this and
alone.
that, this and that. Everybody got like 13 grand. It was like, here's your 13 grand, your grand, your 13 grand. And now we're rich and let's go on tour for 2 years. And then you come home with nothing. And like, by the end of it, they're fucked and their bands broke up and they hate each other. And it's all about royalties and other things. And they don't hate each other. And that wasn't the deal. And I'm not talking about Paul in particular,
Right.
but like those guys made a couple of great records. But I think that's just really typical of a lot of the major label kind of stuff that goes on.
Yeah, it can get dark in a hurry, you know.
Absolutely. I mean, you have a bunch of buddies, I'm sure, that have been through that.
Sure. Yeah.
Replacements.
Yeah, all my pals.
Prince.
Yeah.
Um,
He never liked to talk about it much.
he didn't. Yeah, he was very quiet.
He just tells you loose lips sink ships, right?
Yeah.
So-
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the. It's the difference between have to be there. Said. Yeah. It's the difference between you get to be there and have to be there. You know, now you guys get to be there, and that's the
right.
Yeah.
Tell me, who was the mastermind behind your video of the driver's gloves? And Ian, I feel like you owe everybody breakfast there too.
Dude's got skills.
Alan over for brunch.
What happened to mine? Where's my eggs?
Oh man, you know, we had to shoot that scene twice, so I ate two sets of 4 eggs. I ate 8 eggs in the making of that.
No problem.
Yeah,
it was actually not a problem.
I was super hungry, so
yeah,
it worked out pretty well.
Can't you have a stand-in or something for you on that? Wasn't that budget out?
Yeah, it was pretty low budget.
You know what the inspiration for that movie was? And that was shot by Eric Abert, the gentleman who's having babies and getting married. My partner in crime from the Life and Times, the bass player. And we had talked about the chase scene from Point Break being one of the most memorable chase scenes in all of cinematic history. So, right, that's Keanu and
Patrick
Swayze. But we don't see Patrick in that scene. But that chase scene is like literally pointed at as one of the most iconic chase scenes in history. At one point, dude throws the dog onto him on the front porch, porch. And we did that. We tried to do the same thing in the we ran into the bar that's Matt Talbot from the band Hum, who's the owner and the bartender. And then we run outside and Ian throws the fucking
doll,
stuffed animal of some sort.
It was a big doll. I mean, so there was some direct references to it, but it was supposed to be, we were trying to find a reason for us to set off a chase scene. And so we talked about it until that morning.
It took a minute. Yeah.
Yes. Or the night.
What would make you chase someone if they ate my breakfast?
Yes. We were like, does he flip an egg on my face? Does he, what is it that sets off the chase scene? And
at one point it was going to be like we got pizza and then you went to the pizza box and it was empty. I'm like, no.
Does that set off a chase scene though?
Right.
But if we're a couple of hobos living together in some apartment somewhere, and you get up to make eggs and call me for brekkie, and then I take too long just being lazy, you
snooze, you lose.
You snooze, you lose. Breakfast. No? Okay. And it was set up kind of like a Three Stooges scene, honestly. Like, how could I not notice that there was not eggs on the plate?
Yeah, right.
The Three Stooges, Sabotage, Beastie Boys.
Oh, yes.
And Waiting for Godot.
Oh, wow. That's more than I had.
Yeah, the Samuel Beckett, the two bums waiting for Vladimir and Estragon. How's that?
That's great. Wow. Showing off.
Well, you know, if I have a rare opportunity, but it was
French minor coming through.
Yeah. But it was so much fun. It was just such a fun.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad. Yeah. It was fun to shoot. We were exhausted by the end of the shoot. We did a lot of running. A couple of grown men. You don't do a lot of running, and then turns out you're cooked by the end of the day.
Like the eggs.
Yep. We shot that scene at the end of the day, thankfully, actually. I worked up an appetite.
Oh, I was gonna say you'd probably want to vomit if you did it before. Oh,
right.
8 eggs.
Yeah.
So you guys are playing in
Chicago,
little Chicago-y.
Yeah, there's a little place called Chicago. It's just south of Green Bay. About 6 hours. Empty bottle. Ian's home. You've played as many shows Empty Bottle as I have, probably.
Well, maybe not as many, but yeah, quite a few times.
Oh, because I'm old.
I didn't. Well,
I get it.
Yeah.
No. You don't have to say it.
You're the veteran.
I am the vet. I'm the wily veteran. So, and then we go to Champaign the next night, and we're going to play in actually not Champaign, just south of Champaign in a little tiny rail town called Tolono,
where
we shot the video. Yeah, the little bar we run through, we're actually playing there. So
how can we talk you guys into playing in Minneapolis then, unless Ian's picking us up to head to the show?
We're easily
You're welcome
talked
to join.
into it.
Yeah.
We'll be enticed by like free beer and
I was gonna say Ian owes you brunch and you love his backyard. Like, I feel like it's a done deal.
Yeah, it's a win-win.
We will be doing. The beauty is that we've got our show together now, and by the time we do these shows, we'll be ready to play shows. It should be mentioned that we wrote without trying to think about a live show.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're at the point where we're trying to put this together, and it's difficult.
It's tricky.
It's tricky. So it's taken a minute to put it together, but now that we're ready to actually play shows. We could go on tour. I mean, if there weren't a pandemic and, whatever else. The locusts and but we've taken the time to actually put the thing together, and it's actually it's going to be really good. And now when we were writing, we weren't thinking about the live show. We were like, don't fuck with that right now. Let's just write. And I feel like we did the right thing, but it's been tough.
Yeah, there's a lot to try to replicate now from the album, which for just two people, and I think we're going to be able to do that. But yeah, we need to get that first show under our belts and know that we can do it, and then from there it'll be easy,
Right. We need to get some Minneapolis stuff going.
For sure.
Yes. I was going to say, yeah, I feel like there should be special souvenirs for the night that you do the show at the video, where you shot the video, the hum.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
Really good. That's a good idea.
I know. I have some every once in a while.
We should get koozies.
Koozies. There you go.
I'm with Silly.
Driver's gloves. Actual gloves.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
The kind with the holes in the knuckles.
Yes.
Yes. Because seriously, you guys, when I was listening to your music, I was running, and I feel like I am energized, faster. It was just let's go, let's do this.
Awesome.
I love it.
So I can't wait to see it. Yeah.
Let's see our new niche.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Maybe I'm spending Thanksgiving in Chicago early, Heather. Maybe we're gonna make a track. We'll see.
I would totally do it.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That would be fun. Let us know. We'll have guest lists. So if you do, we will throw you on the GL.
Well, now that's super tempting. Tempting.
And have 4 eggs or 8 eggs, whatever.
Yes.
We'll work on that. I will put this in the notes for folks who are listening. How can people find you online, collectively and or together?
We're on
Bandcamp.
Yeah, we're on Bandcamp, and that would be the main way, because our, the life of a side project it's a rough, rocky road. It's not as though we're not dedicated. However, to actually pay the money for a real website is another thing. So what we do is we use Bandcamp as our main hub, And I still would say that that's a legitimate hub. So I would say Bird Hands 1, and it's the number 1. birdhands1.bandcamp.com. That way you can go to the merch store and you can hear the record and you can see what's going on. If you want to just see about the hijinks and stuff, you go to our Facebook page. And we got to get on WhatsApp and TikTok, because I think that's probably where our crowd's at. So, yes.
Could be. Find crowds all around. Thank you both for being on here. It's fun to hear about the stuff you do. The album is awesome. People should go check it out. And stranger things have happened than we show up in Chicago. You just never know.
Well, you should let us know. Ann and Heather, thank you so much.
Thank you.
This is a big deal. I really appreciate it, and very nice to be able to talk about this. Ian, I love you.
Love you too.
I know you do.